Certainly. Here's a 500-word story-style article based on the topic 21 Simple Habits for a More Peaceful Life. The Morning Lucy Changed Everything. A story about finding peace through small habits. For most of her life, Lucy ran on autopilot. From early morning emails to late night scrolling, she barely had a moment to breathe. A successful marketing executive, she looked like she had it all. Until a panic attack in the grocery store parking lot forced her to admit something wasn't right. "I thought I was just tired," she told her therapist later. "But I was living in constant tension." That night, Lucy made a choice, not to overhaul her life overnight, but to reclaim it little by little. She started with one small habit, drinking her morning coffee in silence, without her phone. It felt strange at first. She kept reaching for her notifications, but after a week, she noticed a shift. "It was the first time in years I heard myself think." Encouraged, she added more simple habits. Not resolutions, just rituals. She began to journal before bed, writing just 3 sentences about her day. She created a no-phone zone in her bedroom. She took slow walks during lunch breaks, even if it was only 10 minutes. Soon, Lucy had compiled a personal list of 21 habits, not because she had planned to, but because each one made her feel lighter. 1. Wake up without checking your phone. 2. Make your bed mindfully. 3. Drink water before caffeine. 4. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. 5. Walk outdoors daily. 6. Stretch your body. 7. Eat one meal without multitasking. 8. Set phone-free hours. 9. Breathe deeply before reacting. 10. Write a daily gratitude list. 11. Limit negative news intake. 12. Listen more than you speak. 13. Practice saying no. 14. Unsubscribe from unwanted emails. 15. Declutter one small area weekly. 16. Replace screen time with reading. 17. Light a candle during dinner. 18. Reflect on wins, not just goals. 19. Send kind messages to loved ones. 20. End the day with quiet reflection. 21. Forgive small things quickly. None of these habits required money or major life changes, only intention. But together, they began to soften the edges of her life. She laughed more. She slept better. And when challenges came, she didn't feel like she was unraveling. She felt grounded. Peace, Lucy realized, isn't a destination. It's a practice. One day, over coffee with an old friend, she shared her journey. "I didn't quit my job or move to a cabin," she said with a smile. "I just stopped living like I was always in a rush." Her friend looked surprised. "That's it? These little things?" Lucy nodded. Peace isn't about escaping your life. It's about living it better. It's about one small habit at a time. Would you like a follow-up list expanding on these 21 habits? Or an audio version of the story? Absolutely. Here's a 500-word continuation of the story, deepening Lucy's transformation and exploring how her peaceful habits began to influence not only her own life, but the people around her. Over the next several months, Lucy's world began to subtly change. Not dramatically. Her job remained demanding, and her responsibilities hadn't disappeared. But her relationship with the world shifted. What once felt overwhelming now felt manageable. Her mornings, previously chaotic and rushed, became sacred. She no longer reached for her phone before her feet hit the floor. Instead, she opened her window, listened to the morning birds, and took 3 deep breaths. It was a small act, but to Lucy, it was powerfully symbolic. I start my day with nature, not notifications. At work, Lucy noticed she reacted differently to stress. Where she once snapped under pressure or raced to fix every problem, she now paused, took a breath, and responded with calm intention. One afternoon, after leading a tense team meeting with uncharacteristic composure, a younger colleague approached her. "How do you stay so centered?" he asked. Lucy laughed gently. "I stopped believing everything needed an urgent answer. Most things can wait, including your own thoughts." That moment made Lucy realize something powerful. Her peace was beginning to radiate outward. She wasn't just transforming her own life. She was modeling a different way to live for others. She started sharing her habits during team check-ins, not as rules, but as personal insights. A few people began joining her for lunchtime walks. Others followed her lead and silenced their phones during breaks. Even her boss noticed. "You've got a new energy," he told her. "It's like you're working from the inside out." Outside of work, Lucy's relationships deepened. She stopped filling every social calendar slot just to feel busy. Instead, she made space for meaningful connections, slow dinners with old friends, weekend hikes with her niece, even quiet afternoons spent alone. The silence that once made her uncomfortable now felt like an old friend. But perhaps the most profound change came in how she treated herself. Lucy had long been her own worst critic, measuring her worth by output and perfection. Now, she was learning to extend grace, to speak kindly to herself, to rest without guilt, to say, "I am enough," and truly believe it. Her journal, once filled with anxious to-do lists, became a record of presence and progress. "Today I felt peaceful just watching the clouds." Of course, there were still hard days. Stress didn't disappear, nor did old habits die overnight. But Lucy had built a foundation, a quiet rhythm of simple actions that anchored her when the world wobbled. One evening, she sat on her balcony, watching the sky turn shades of coral and blue. She sipped tea, her phone resting inside, notifications off. A breeze moved through the trees. In that stillness, she thought of her 21 habits, not as tasks, but as gifts she gave herself daily. Peace, she realized, wasn't a reward waiting at the end of the journey. Peace was the way she chose to walk the path. Would you like a beautifully formatted printable or a narrated version of this full story?